I feel as if I want to go back to the basics. I want to talk about increasing the amount of reach you get with the content you post on social media. I feel as if as content creators, our main goal is to reach as many people on the platform as possible. It shows that your content is well reciprocated, people are seeing value from it, and that what you're doing is actually working. And there's a lot of benefits from increased reach. It's more eyeballs on your content. It means you grow your audience. It increases the chance of you getting new clients and getting more product sales. So if we can increase the reach of the content we are posting, it's a win-win. So today I wanted to share some quick tips as to how you can actually increase the reach you are seeing on your content. So without any further ado, let's just dive straight into tip number 1. Tip number 1 being that you need to keep your audience engaged for the duration of the content. And by that I mean you want them to be engaged for the whole piece of content. If it's an Instagram carousel, you want them to get to the end. If it's a video, you want them to watch all of it. Video content being an easy one to explain, with video content, the algorithm is going to look at the average watch time of the video that you have posted. Now let's say, for simplicity's sake, that it is a 10-second video. Now if people are only watching the first 2 seconds of that video, that's an average 20% watch time. That's not great. But if you could get almost all of these people to watch 9 or 10 seconds of your video, that's a 90 to 100% watch time. Now the algorithm's going to compare these numbers. If it's seeing that a video is getting on average a 20% watch time, it can gauge that that video clearly isn't that interesting. People aren't enjoying it and are scrolling on because they're getting on average 20% of the way into that video and then moving on to the next piece of content. So it's going to look at that information and go, well, we're not going to push this content out to a wider audience because the people that we've shown it to already clearly didn't enjoy it. However, if you had a 90% average watch time, that is a green light for the algorithm. The algorithm's going to look at that number and go, wow, almost everybody who is watching this video is watching it the whole way through. So it's almost a guarantee for the algorithm that if they push this content out to a wider audience, people outside of your follower base, that the likelihood of them enjoying it is very, very high. So you need to be doing this with all the content you create. You need to be engaging that attention throughout for as long a period as you possibly can. So think about this when you are creating your content itself. Think about the structure. Think about the story. Think how you're grabbing that attention, building up the intrigue, and then providing all that value at the end. You want to think about all the ways that you can maximize the average consumption time of your content, because it's a good indicator to the algorithm that your piece of content performs well. Moving swiftly on to tip number 2, and that is that you should keep your language in your content simple. This is one that I consistently have to remind myself of, and that I feel as if a lot of people need to take a strong note of, especially when you get later on into your journey and you've provided all the information on the basics and you are thinking about your audience. You're going, oh, these people have consumed all of my content in the past. They should know all of these terms. They should be clued up. They should have a solid knowledge on what I'm teaching. However, you need to remember that not all of these people followed you 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months ago when you first started and have consumed your content the whole way through. Some people may have followed you yesterday or last week, and therefore their knowledge is going to be much, much lower. So you need to remember as a creator that you need to cater your content for all experience levels. And if you do that, you need to make sure that the language you use is simple enough to be understood by everyone. So you don't want to be using these long words and industry jargon that only the experts can understand. You may think that using these long words make you sound smart. However, what they're doing is actually reducing the number of people that your piece of content can apply to, which is suppressing the amount of reach you can get. You want your content to be consumable by everybody, no matter their experience level. So by actually dumbing down your content and using language that can be understood by everyone, you're actually doing yourself a favor. The experts, the best creators, can turn a really, really complex subject into this simple, short form, easy to understand piece of content. They are the experts. They are the people that are great at creating content, not people that make themselves sound clever by using long, fancy words and industry jargon like I was saying. So take it from that simple perspective. Use language that can be understood by everyone, because by doing so, your piece of content is going to apply to more people. And that's what you want, because that is what is going to increase the reach you actually see. Tip number 3, and this one is pretty self-explanatory. You have to create content that's actually worth consuming and sharing. Shares are one of the easiest ways to increase your reach on any social media platform. It's free promotion. People sharing an Instagram post onto their story that then gets shown to all of their followers. People simply sharing the video amongst their friends. That could then be passed on and have that snowball effect and go viral. Shareable content is an easy way to increase your reach. So you need to be thinking about the content you are creating and creating it in a way that does make it shareable. Value providing content is always a great one to follow. If you are solving somebody's problem, it's likely that other people are going to have that problem also. And people think like this. If they read your piece of content and go, oh, that really helped me. Oh, wait, a lot of other people are going to have this problem as well. Let me share it with my audience. That again will have that snowball effect. So think about that. Or provide a new piece of value unlike anybody else before. I see a lot of content coming up nowadays that are simply repeats of what everybody is saying, unoriginal content, and that's boring. Nobody wants to consume that anymore. Uniqueness is something that really does go a long way. Providing your own perspective is a really simple one. If you have a unique perspective on something, share it, because people might begin to agree with you if you back it up with evidence. And if you can do that, people are going to share that with their audience, because this is a new perspective. This is a new idea, a new concept, a new piece of content, unlike something anybody has ever seen before. And that is what is going to make that piece of content shareable, because it is unique. It's something new that they haven't seen, something that's actually interesting. And that's what you need when it comes to content. Something unique, something fun, something exciting. Because when people come across content like that, they are far, far, far more likely to share it than if it is a piece of content that is based on a concept that they've seen before. Pretty simple to understand, but it's something every single creator needs to consider, because shares are an easy way to get more reach on your content and attract more people to your social media profiles. Now, the final tip I want to mention is based around the time you actually post your content. And this can be tested. You can test this with your audience. It may work for some, it may not work for others, but this is what does work for me. So if I were to look at my analytics on any social media platform I post, and I look at the active times of my audience, most people would think that you want to post at that peak time when your audience is most active. However, what I have tested and what works for me is to post just before that peak time. Because if you post smack bang in the middle of when all your audience is active, you're probably going to miss a few people, because they may have come on, been active and gone off because you've posted in the middle. So you're going to get a 50-50 split. However, if you post just before this active time, just before, let's talk just a 30 minutes to an hour, you're going to catch everyone during that most active period. So when you're thinking about posting times, take a look at the active time of your audience, see when that peak time is, clock it back an hour and post at that time. That way you're going to reach everyone in that peak period rather than just half of them, because you are hedging a bet as to when it was going to be most active. So give it a test. It might not work for everyone. It does work for me, but it is a really, really simple tip to actually increasing your reach because you are catching more people during those most active times. And that's it. Those are my 4 very, very simple tips to actually increasing the amount of reach that your content is getting on your social media platforms.